All the ZX10R Masters Cup action is proudly brought to you by SunBet, Red Square, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice for the ZX10R Masters Cup, and Kawasaki motorcycles.
Wat je naam?
Mijn naam is Kieke, die lekker zwaar is leuk.
Welcome to Aldo Scribante. It's a friendly city, the windy city, and a lot of people coming out here for round 4 of the SunBet ZX10R Masters Cup. The official two-wheel brigade of the Extreme Festival have made their way down into the region of Gqeberha, and it looks like there's going to be some action-packed after an incredible first 3 rounds. And of course the one at Pekisa was really interesting too. We'll get to that in a few moments time, but how awesome is it to see all these people back out on the side of the track, and looking forward to a fantastic day's racing here in PE. It's a big field that have come down here, almost 20 motorcycles on the grid. And it looks like it's going to be some fantastic racing as we've seen. It looks like there's a bit of a battle at the front end starting to rage between the top 2 contenders, Jason Lamb and Graham van Breda. But in the mid-pack, there's always some exceptionally great racing and very, very close. Particularly when you're up amongst riders that are on the same kind of vein, same kind of age, and the same kind of ability on these Kawasaki ZX10Rs. Great to have Red Square behind the scenes as well, and Bridgestone. But let's catch up now with the man from TRP, Ian Harwood.
Ian Harwood riding the TRP bike. Ian, they didn't have any bright coloured leathers when you bought these leathers.
Well, they had a few, but I decided to have the brightest looking ones so I could look just like Shrek.
And go like Shrek.
Absolutely, go like Shrek. Do everything we have
Tell
to
me
do.
about Ian Harwood and Aldo Scribante track.
So we've been down here a few times. We came down yesterday, trying to get a little bit of practice in, but unfortunately the weather didn't play ball. And our first session this morning, the weather didn't play ball. We got out now and got a reasonable time, but I still need to find 2-3 seconds and I'll be where I should be.
Let's catch up with championship leader now, Graham van Breda, after a very, very close finish at the Pekisa Freeway that went down to a court of appeal.
For me as well, it was probably the closest finish I've had in my life. It was a very contradictory the way it went about, because it went to MSA, they had a hearing about it, and I was initially given the win by 1,000ths of a second, and then I was taken away my points by 1,000ths of a second. So, you know, that was a hearing outcome, so we take it on the chin and we try our best for this meeting to try to get those
Just
points
to explain about the position of the transponders on the bike, because I think that's maybe where it comes from.
I'm sure. So there's no rule about where the transponder needs to be on the bike. So ours was on the front fork. Generally that's where the majority of the guys run it. And I know Jason's was on the back by his footrest. So I'm guessing that's where the discrepancy comes in. But they've had a lot of cases in the past. I've heard old national racing, current national racing, and they normally go by transponder time because they don't have a line of finish camera at the finish line. So this time they didn't. So like I said, you know, we take it on the chin and move on from there.
You had the closest of finishes, and apparently now it went to a court and they've decided to reverse the decision.
Yes, Dave, as you saw, it was a very good race right to the end. I believed I won. I did appeal it. They reviewed the footage and they declared me the winner. So great, I got my points back.
By 1/1000th of a second.
Correct, 1/1000th of a second.
How close do you want it? Well, we want it just as close, please, gentlemen, as we come to line up now for race 1 of round 4 of the SunBet ZX10R Masters Cup. And riders are ready to go. Absolutely perfect conditions this morning. A little bit better than what they had in the qualifying and in the practice sessions, as you heard. But Jason Lamb and Trevor Westman are on the front row with Dave Enticott. Then it's Graham van Breda, Peter de Vos and Brian Bontekoning, Clint Munton, Han McMahon and Johan LaRue. And great to have him back again. Varinga just ahead of Renatus van Niekerk. And then Lewis is up there as well on that 4th row. Thumbs up from the pole man. Let's see if he can put it all together now and see if he can outgun the rest of this pack who are hunting him down big time. The 2 Cape Town boys, Enticott and Westman, certainly looking hungry. And how's that for a great qualifying? Alongside Graham van Breda, Peter de Vos on the 2nd row. Join us after the break for race 1 action. Welcome back to action, about to kick off here for race number 1 of the SunBet ZX10R Masters Cup. Got that reload in them and they are ready to go on the grid with Jason Lamb outgunning everybody in qualifying and certainly looking like he's got what it takes here at what would arguably be his second home circuit. Only just down the road from East London. He's looking forward to a great battle with this man that we're on board with, Team Wayward, Trevor Westman, the killer, looking straight back into the eyes of a very good qualifying from Peter de Vos. He gets off the line, not quite as good as Graham Van Breda did. Great start there coming from Clint Munton and from Hein McMahon as they go alongside Peter de Vos down towards turn 1, but it's Van Breda who's got the whole shot. GVBD heads into turn 1 around the outside of Jason Lamb. Jason Lamb under a little bit of pressure there coming from Westman right from the word go. Entercott in there as well. Great start from the two Cape Townians, but they tucked in behind the two championship contenders. And the East London rider is right on the tailpiece there. It's Lamb pushing hard onto the man from Springs, Graham Van Breda. Rest of the pack sorting themselves out there. Good start from Lubabalo. Good start there from Dave Varinga as well. And as they head up towards the hairpin, here comes an opportunity for an overtake. Oh, it's like he's opening up the door. Jason Lamb slams up the inside of the big foot out there from Graham Van Breda and takes the lead. Oh, good start there from Renatus Vanika as well. All over the back and looking for a way through there on McMahon and Varinga. But this is Van Breda coming straight back at Jason Lamb as they come out of Chevy, heading up towards the final corner. Late on the brakes and around the outside. Oh, I can't have expected to see something like that. Entercott coming through there, flying into that last turn. And he's got up to second place on the outside of the corner. Around the outside, that's the way you do it. If you want to get past Graham Van Breda, you've got to find any way possible to get past the championship leaders. They head down towards turn 1 again. Here comes Westman. Westman looking dangerous as well. Look at Entercott though, later on the brakes than anybody else. He closed the gap down on Jason Lamb dramatically into turn 1. And it's only lap number 2. How's this for a start? We said it was going to be interesting. We saw how good it was at Pakisa and how close that final finish was. We had 2 bikes involved in that one. We got 4 involved in this one. And not too far behind. What a start, as I said, from Clint Munton. Munton leading the second pack out at this point in time. No sign of Brian Bontekoning at the moment, but he's slowly but surely starting to get into that second pack of riders. And Westman starting to look for a chance. Look in the background there. Here comes Brian Bontekoning closing on Munton. Munton and Bontekoning very close. Even closer between Westman and Van Breda. Van Breda looking very, very worried at this stage. A little bit rattled there, I think, over those first 2 passes that were done on him on that first lap. Maybe he's got to get settled down and get back into the rhythm. Back up towards the final corner. This is Peter de Vos starting to close onto the back end. Bontekoning just ahead of him, and Munton is the man who leads them out as they come to complete this lap. As I said, Peter de Vos had a fantastic start. He's looking for a chance now to be back up in that top 5, at least where he was at Pakisa. Late minute and last minute braking coming out of Westman. Westman changes up to 3rd, and Van Breda just seems to be falling by the wayside here. Something not quite right on that Stefanuti Stocks bike at this point. Graham Van Breda, as I said, looked a little bit rattled on that first couple of laps. Let's see if we can get back into that rhythm I was speaking about. Westman leads the way at this stage on that wayward Kawasaki, getting away now from the championship leader. And Graham Van Breda doesn't seem to have an answer there to the man from Cape Town. I think Trevor Westman's going hunting for his fellow Cape Townian, Dave Entercott. At Siren Engineering, Kawasaki just up the road there in second is putting the pressure onto, as I said, a man who would be known as a local man. He's from the Eastern Cape, only just down the road in East London, and this is definitely his second favourite circuit on the country, that is for sure. Looks like Peter de Vos is also closing on Munton. Has he got through there on Bontekoning? He has. So Bontekoning and de Vos changing up. Look at this. Oh, Hein McMahon absolutely lit through Chevy. He's got big pressure coming in the background. McMahon being pressurized there by Dave Varinga and Renatus Vanika. The two of them all over the back of him and looking for a way through. 3-way battle. That is for the bottom end of that top 10. Top end of the top 10 is starting to rage into turn 1 as Westman comes flying. Westman absolutely charging down and looking for a way into the second corner. Oh, into the S's. Had a big look there to try and find a way past on Entercott. Couldn't quite get there though. Dave Entercott just shut the door. So it's Siren Engineering versus Wayward Kawasaki heading towards Hangar, trying to close down on that Tyre Mart machine from East London. I'll tell you something, Jason Lamb is just fired up after Pakisa. After that 1,000th of a second difference between him and Graham Van Breda and the finish line, he doesn't want that again, that's for sure. But he's certainly pushing hard now to try and stay ahead of the two hard chargers from Cape Town. Those two Cape Town boys are really going well. They found something special this weekend. And there was a little bit of a concern from Entercott's point of view. Oh, and how was that from Westman? Had a big look. It's going to compromise his drive coming out slightly, but he had to have a dive and nearly snuck up the inside there of Dave Entercott. Entercott saw him at the last minute and shut the door firmly in his face. Was not going to let him through. And he does some defensive driving and riding back down into turn 1 now, not allowing a gap to open up there for Westman to come through. The killer's on it. Trevor Westman is looking very dangerous. And certainly looking for a chance to get through here on Dave Entercott. Entercott all over the back and has pulled a small margin back again there from Jason Lamb. Lamb just seems to be settling down slightly. He can't settle down at this point though. Not with those two riders behind him. Van Breda just hasn't been able to bridge the gap to the three of them. He's not too far behind, but not close enough to have a go. And I think what Van Breda will be doing is sitting, waiting, and thinking, if something goes wrong between these three, at least I can pick up some valuable championship points. And that's exactly what he's trying to do now. We're getting into sort of almost the halfway stage of the season, so it's consistency, it's championship points in the bag by the end of the races, and no DNFs. Vital not to get any non-finishes here at this point of the season. Further back, great little battle there between Renatus and Lubabalo, and a nice one as well between Jonathan Schwerin getting in the mix there, and he's mixing it up, I think, with Steve Galgocci. Fantastic run. Right at the back of the pack, though, it's Ian Harwood. So it's bright leathers, just shining around the circuit. He brings a little bit of extra sun to the friendly city here in Quebec. Continuing action at the front end again, and once again, no answer yet coming out of Westman. He's shown a couple of wheels to Enticott, but Enticott has matched him every single time, and is now looking to try and set his own attack on the man out front. Jason Lamb has got his days numbered, and the two Cape Townians are literally all over the back of him now. You can throw that proverbial blanket over those first three. Late braking from Enticott. He is always good on the brakes. Is he good enough to get on the inside? He is. Oh, that's brilliant. But Jason Lamb keeps him honest, keeps him around the outside. Can he get the drive? Jason Lamb just slams on that throttle and heads down towards Chevy, just getting on the inside and squeezing Enticott out. That was nearly Enticott at the front of the race. Lamb wasn't having any of it. Here comes Westman. Westman going to try and catch Enticott out, and he's gone on the inside. Is he good enough? Oh, he forces him wide. Brilliant bit of riding there from the killer, living up to his nickname as he dives on the inside of Enticott and slams past in a second. So it's Westman pushing hard. Look at this, is brilliant stuff. On board, looking straight back at Enticott. There's nothing in it between those two motorcycles. And there's some great battles further up as well. Renatus now on the inside of Lubs. Lubas having a fantastic run there, and Renatus Vanuka giving him a good run for his money. This is Westman now trying to close down on Lamb. He's pulled slightly away now from Enticott, but Enticott is still in the mix. He's still not going to give it up without a fight. Well, I'll tell you what, Killer is not going to give it up without a fight. Trevor Westman is all over and looking for a way through. That's good drive out of Hanger. Can he get the drive now up onto the brakes? We know that the man on the 48 bike, or 78 bike I should say, is certainly a man who's good on the brakes. But right now, it's the 60 bike that is pushing hard, and Westman wants past. He's not going to get through though. Jason Lamb is just placing that bike perfectly. He's not giving any room here to these two riders to try and find a way through. He gave a little bit of an inch there to Enticott, and with that, it was almost a chance for Enticott to take the lead. Enticott back now at Westman. Late on the brakes into the final corner. Coming into the closing stages of this one, it's going to be so close. This is brilliant stuff as they head now. About 4 laps to go. This is fantastic. Heading towards turn 1 once again. It's Enticott now trying to close things down on Westman. Further back, Westman's teammate still in a bit of a fight there with Galgocci. Galgocci and Schwerin going at it big time. Great to see, man. The two men further back, they're fighting just outside of the top 10. In fact, that's great to see those two very, very much massive improvements on both riders there. Speaking of improvements on the brake, is that good enough? It is. Oh, Westman hits the front. Westman going to force out Jason Lamb. Is Jason Lamb going to try and come back at him same way he did at Enticott? No, that door's not available. But Westman runs wide. That could compromise his drive out of Chevy Sweep up towards the final corner. Will we see Jason Lamb come back at him? Jason Lamb going to set things up here in the final part of this race. He comes up into the final corner, not quite close enough yet to have a go at Trevor Westman. He's also having to watch the back end there because Enticott is still looking for a way past. Hasn't found one yet. He got through for about half a meter. This is Peter de Vos on the John Gonjosi machine. Oh, great move here from Peter de Vos. Dives through and gets past Munton. So Munton and de Vos fighting hard here. And that's going to be for just outside of that top 5. Late on the brakes. How late do you want to be? Oh, man, that is brilliant stuff from Jason Lamb. Timing it to perfection. Graham Van Breda in 4th place goes into the same corner, and you can't even see the motorcycles up the road there. The top 3 have got away from Van Breda. Have to wait and see exactly what went wrong there on in this first race for Van Breda. He'll be tweaking that bike with Peter Lobuskakking to get it right for race number 2. But Jason Lamb has got a machine under him right now that is unmatched and unmarked. And right now he's being marked big time for the last time. Can we see Westman dive on the inside? No, Lamb comes across, closes that opportunity up. Not going to give Westman any room to play. And Westman does the same thing to keep out Enticott. But a couple of back markers we might need to negotiate before we get to that checkered flag. But Jason Lamb's going to try and use them to his advantage. It's Ian Harwood they're about to catch as they head up towards the final corner. Can we see Westman have a last-ditch effort here to get on the inside? We saw him go on the inside to make a move on Enticott. He has to go around the outside, the highway around. And look at Enticott trying to close on his inside to get through on him for the drag race to the line. It's going to be so close. Here they come. And it's checkered flag time. And once again, Jason Lamb is at the front end of the field. Westman comes through for second place and Van Breda for third on the official results. But if you look down, Entercott and Peter de Vos are not on those results, having been given a penalty and now under appeal before we get into the next race. So we'll wait and see what's going to happen with those two. But a great effort nonetheless from Brian Bontekoning. He wins out Class C, and then Johan Leroux behind him making a welcome return. Let's catch up now with Jason Lamb.
Unbelievable. What a fantastic race, you know. Really a good, hard race. Trevor was hard but fair. Didn't give me a rest for half a second. So really, really a good race. You know, I'd just like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, without whom this wouldn't be possible. Thank you so much.
Nice return for Westman, up in a second.
From the word go, it was a battle between the four of us, and got myself ahead of David Entercott, and then sitting behind Lamb, I felt like I had a lot of opportunities, but I just waited a bit too long and obviously paid the price and got second. But what a great race from everybody. I'm super happy. Thank you.
It was a superb race as well from Dave Entercott for third place.
Yeah, super tough with that. It was quite a fight. Lost the toe a little bit down the front straight here behind Trevor and Jason. I led for about 3/4 of a lap. Jason bounced back pretty quickly. The Oaks definitely had their boxing gloves on. It was a really good race. Thanks to all the supporters back home. Cape Town, I know it's raining. I hope everyone's dry and safe. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks very much for everything.
Welcome back to Kawega and to race number 2 now of the SunBet ZX10R Masters Cup. Motorcycles making their way to the line, and we're about to get going for another bit of action-packed two-wheeled action down in towards turn 1 here at Aldo Scribante. This is going to be Jason Lamb for another time. What a start there from Lamb. Gets off the line, a little bit of a wheelie. That might have cost him slightly. It was Van Breda who got the whole shot in race number 1. Looks like he's going to do the same thing here in race number 2, and he's followed by Entercott. So almost ideal conditions in exactly the same way they went into turn 1. In race 1, they're doing the same thing here in race number 2. As they head towards the S's, already some pressure being applied there from Entercott onto the back end of Graham Van Breda. This is Westman looking straight back at Clint Munton. Cape Town boys have come firing this weekend, there's no doubt about it. Remember, Westman and Munton missed out on Pekisa, so they're looking to try and get as many points in the bag as they can, and that's why they're pushing so hard. Jason Lamb in third place under pressure already there, and looking for a way through is Dave Entercott, and following him through is Lamb. Oh, that's brilliant. Jason Lamb capitalizing on a great move there from Entercott. Realized right in the last second that it was going to be Dave Entercott having a go on Van Breda, and he followed him through. As they came out of the hairpin, it's a change up for second and third now. And second and third, Van Breda went from first to third. What a start for this race. Again, the top 4 starting to put on a massive show. And in fact, just behind that, let's line them up because they're having just as good a bites. This is fantastic. This is Peter de Vos fighting hard with McMahon. We're looking at Van Breda as the top 3 try and get away from him now. Trying to leave the championship leader behind. As they get under braking, is it going to be Westman looking for a way through? No, he doesn't squeeze out the championship leader there, and Van Breda hangs on for third for now. It is so close. This is brilliant action once again here from the SunBet ZX10R Masters Cup riders as they go into the S's. Arguably the top motorcycle racing in the country coming out of this class, there's no doubt about it. And Van Breda is leading the championship, but at the moment is not leading the race. His closest rival does that, because a change up at the front as Lamb has hit the front and got ahead now. Entercott trying to come back at him. Here comes Westman. Westman on the inside of Van Breda, not close enough. And here's Bontekoning on Munton, and it's de Vos on Bontekoning. How many riders want to ever try and overtake into the hairpin? You can only make it one, boys. Just behind that, Leroux looking very good at the stage, making a welcome return as well after that big crash. Fantastic to have Johan Leroux back again, and JLR is looking very good. Trying to close down on de Vos and bringing along for the ride, as you can see just in the background there, behind McMahon. Verringa trying to close that gap down on McMahon. Doesn't quite get there just yet. How's this? This is like 6 bikes all fighting for 5th place on track. That is phenomenal stuff. I don't normally see them as closely marked and matched as what they are today, but they certainly are putting a fantastic show on to a big partisan crowd who's come out here, and they are hungry for motorsport down here in the Eastern Cape. Remember, we only go up the road in a couple of weeks' time for the East London round of this championship, and there they absolutely love these motorcycles because they get to top speed on that main straightaway going through those very, very fast right-handers, and they're doing similar things here in the S's. Not quite at the same top speed, but let me tell you something, Peter de Vos is going like a rocket right now. That Tonganjosi outsourcing Kawasaki. They're going to try and close down on Bontekoning. Bontekoning on the Sunscan bike, and he's looking for a way through there. That Jag Power Products Kawasaki has not found a way on Munton. Munton is keeping the sun shining on that scan bike at this stage and hangs on for 5th place. This is Westman absolutely flat out. Almost everything she's got down into turn 1 and a change up. He gets through there on the championship leader, and Van Breda has got no answer. Graham Van Breda just opened up the door. Westman said, thanks, I'll have that. And he now goes hunting for his fellow Capetonian. So we've got the man from East London leading this out, ahead of 2 Cape Townians and the man from Springs. It's absolutely brilliant stuff between these first 4. A lot closer this time from the Stefanudi Stocks and Motul Kawasaki of Graham Van Breda. They must have done some tinkering there in the pits, him and Peter Lovskaknin. They've got it right now. Let's see if he can stay in contention. It's Sarum Engineering in second. It's Wayward in third. And it's the Timewat and Max for Kawasaki that leads everybody out at this point in time. Lamb from Antigott, from Westman, from Van Breda. Heading up to the final corner again. This is where Westman was so good. Can he squeeze on the inside again of Antigott? He's going to look on the same kind of maneuver. Oh, he does it again. Oh, man, you think that you would see Antigott trying to slam that door shut, but he had no answer. It was just a late braking and a bit of a block pass there coming out of Westman. And Westman now goes to second. Westman, at this stage, fastest bike on the track. So he's certainly looking pretty dangerous to be the man at the front end. But, oh, he's going to fight hard with Antigott as they go towards turn 1. Antigott comes back at him. Dave Antigott is having a fantastic run here in PE. Certainly one of the best runs we've seen out of him. He has been battling a little bit to get to that front end. Now that he's there, there's a very good chance he's going to stay there. And he's certainly looking like he's not done yet. As is Westman. Westman, very late on the brakes up towards the hairpin last time. Not quite as late this time. And changes up his line ever so slightly. Watch as he gets the drive. He carries that drive down the hill and through Chevy. And this is where he tries to capitalize. Tries to go around the outside and set things up for an inside line for the final corner. Oh, man, that's brilliant. Did you see Antigott absolutely sideways out of Chevy sweep? And Van Breda would have realized that. You can see, oh, little mistake. That's a little mistake there coming out of the leader. Jason Lamb runs wide out of the final corner. Westman takes it with advantage to Westman. He goes ahead to the front end of the field. Brilliant stuff there as a small mistake comes out of Jason Lamb. And there is a move on the inside. Munton dropping down 2 positions now. Pontogun has got through on him, so has the Vos. And it looks like right on his tail. And looks like it's possibly going to be Renata van Niekerk and coming into the mix as well. No, it's right. It's Johan Leroux. Johan Leroux bringing Hein McMahon along for the ride. So the 3 red bikes fighting hard out with the John Gonjosi outsourcing Kawasaki here. The Silver Dream Racer looking for a 6th place overall. Jason Lamb has dropped down a 4th place now. It looks like Van Breda got him on the main straightaway after that little mistake coming out of the final corner. So Jason Lamb's got a lot of work to do. Remember, Jay's got to get as many of the top points as possible to try and close that gap down on the man just ahead of him there. This man, Graham Van Breda on the Stefanudi Stocks and Motul Kawasaki. Out front though, Westman trying to pull a little bit of gap, and he has done that on Antigott. Further back, this is a move here from the Vos. Can the Vos get through? No, Pontogunning says not at this stage. 16 versus 17, looking to try and get them in reverse numerical order there. That's what Peter de Vos wants. Munton behind them, lining up and waiting with Johan Leroux closing him down, and then it's Hein McMahon. McMahon's had a fantastic outing this year, there's no doubt about it. Loving life in the ZX10R Masters Cup on that K9 bike of his. As they come onto the braking, there is Antigott. Oh man, Graham Van Breda showing him the way around. That is brilliant. Graham Van Breda goes to 2nd place around the outside of that first corner. That is some huge cojones to get that maneuver right. There's not a lot of grip out there for those Bridgestones, that's for sure. And it certainly looks like he's got that gearbox issue he was chatting to us about in the Parc Fermé after race number 1, all sorted. Speaking of all sorted, it's not all sorted yet between these 5. They are going at it big time. It's so great to see battles right through the field, and such exciting battles. Speaking of excitement, it's about to light up at the front end, because here comes Jason Lamb for Van Breda. And it looks like Antigott has fallen back slightly to 4th. So Antigott's made a small mistake somewhere on track as well. And up to 2nd goes Lamb. Lamb into 2nd place now. Brilliant move there to get ahead. And Graham Van Breda now will have to be very wary of Dave Antigott behind him. I don't think they're going to have enough time to catch Trevor Westman. He's pulled a little bit of a margin now that might not be unattainable. Oh man, you never know. With these riders, you never know what's going to happen here, particularly into the closing stages here of race 2 of the SunBet ZX10R Masters Cup. Oh, there you go. As I said, Antigott makes me look good. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. As they go up into the final couple of laps of this one. Looks like Peter de Vos has got through and he's pulling away ever so slightly. Here comes Jason Lamb on Antigott, looking for a way back again. Oh, not able to make it stick into turn 1. Let's see if he gets it right into the S's, possibly up towards the hairpin. That's where you'll see a late bit of braking coming out of Jason Lamb. But you've got to be very late on the brakes to beat Antigott. Antigott is very good on the brakes. Let's see if anybody can find a way past. Jason Lamb needs to find a way past. He's got to try and get something between himself and Graham Van Breda to try and just to close that gap down in the championship. Westman through here on the back marker, Dieter Hazeman, and he's on his way to the checkered flag, so he's got a comfortable margin now. Should be able to control that for the last 3 corners on circuit, but is it done yet between 2nd, 3rd and 4th place as they come out of the hairpin heading towards Chevy? It's a nice shot there of our leader heading towards that checkered flag. Van Breda trying to come back here. Can he find a way around the outside of Antigott? Antigott just waiting for an opportunity to try and hang in there, and look at Antigott pushing hard Anticott goes down. Anticott goes down, trying to get on the inside of Jason Lamb. He makes a small mistake up into that final corner. That's going to give Jason Lamb second place, no problem at all. He managed to hang on even after he got tapped from behind. And Vanbrugh up to third place. Wow. De Vos wins out Class C's and finishes up in fourth place ahead of Brian Bontekoning and Johan Leroux. Fantastic ride from those three and a great battle for 4, 5 and 6 on track as well. Munton finished up ahead of McMahon and Varinga. Then it was 11th place going to Lubbers. Fantastic effort there. Unfortunately, it was this man who went down, and Anticott coming into the pit lane. No hard feelings. He realised that there was a late ditch effort. Didn't quite work out for him though. Let's catch up now with Trevor Westman, our winner.
The race 2 took all advantage, passed them about lap 7, and then I went straight down to the low 3s, like very close to the lap record on the ZX10 Cup. I just want to dedicate this win to the De Bruin family. Thank you for all the support, and yeah, love you guys lots. Thank you.
Always great camaraderie amongst the riders, particularly after a great race, and one who had a very good race is Steve Golgocci.
Yeah, it's my second time I've been here. Last year was my first time, this is my second time, and I got down to a 7 flat, so yeah, I'm very chuffed with that. Bike went very well. Thank you very much to Ricky Moraes and Blake Industries for the bike, and Prime Equip as well as Detailees. Thank you guys, it was a great race and look forward to coming back next year. Thank you.
Today was actually quite good. Like you said, they're all over the grid from front to back. There was fights all over the place. Great racing. So we're looking forward to the next race again. The guys must just keep it up. It's brilliant. Well done, guys. It's to everyone.
Wat was the guy's name?
What's your name?
My naam is Keegan en ek is baie slim.
David Varinga, rider of the day despite the bad dose of the flu, eh?
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Been a tough weekend, first time down in PE. And let me tell you something, these bikes make serious amounts of horsepower down here. So, you know, being under the weather a little bit hasn't helped the subject, but just want to obviously thank Wheels Online for giving me the opportunity to be here. And thank you to the associate sponsors, the SunBet, Bridgestone, and all the rest of the guys. Thank you, guys.
Championship looks like this as they head to the next round. Vanbrugh now leads out only by 5 points over Jason Lamb, so it's closing up dramatically. Will we see the return of the Red Baron in East London? In third place, certainly up for grabs amongst all of those Cape Townians. Fantastic effort from all of our class winners and rider of the day. We spoke to him already, Dave Varinga. We'll see what happens now at the SunBet ZX10R Masters Cup round 5. That's on the 22nd of July at the East London Grand Prix Circuit. We'll be there to bring you all the action. All the ZX10R Masters Cup action is proudly brought to you by SunBet, Red Square, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice for the ZX10R Masters Cup, and Kawasaki motorcycles.